You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we're going to be talking about a masterpiece. This is a man who has been pursuing his life's work season after season in the IPL, and yesterday morning, UK time, finally delivered a virtuoso performance. Unbelievable stuff. I'm Jack Hope. I'm joined by Max rowe-brown. Max, are you excited to talk about KL Rahul and other topics?
I've been waiting for hours and hours.
I mean, it's brilliant. Ross, can you believe that 48 hours ago we lived in a world where this hadn't happened yet?
You know, when you get to go to like some amazing galleries, there's like the Uffizi in Florence or something like that, and you've got Botticelli on the wall, or you've got a Raphael on the wall, and you're sitting there going, "This." You feel like you're in the presence of greatness. And yesterday, I felt alive because of this innings.
I felt alive because that's a really good way of putting it. We're going to be talking about the IPL as we normally do. Here are the four games we will be talking about. Gujarat Titans v Lucknow Super Giants. We've already given you a taste of that. Punjab Kings v Mumbai Indians. A high-scoring thriller yesterday afternoon UK time. Then this morning, Royal Challengers Bangalore v Rajasthan Royals, and this afternoon, Chennai Super Kings dunking on Kolkata Knight Riders. I think is the best way to describe what happened there. We will do the big story first, which is obviously King Legend. And then we'll move on to other games in an as yet undetermined route. It's going to be like a choose your own adventure. So if you want to, in the chat on YouTube, for example, tell us what you want us to do in what order, we are happy to listen to that. Before we get on with the show, should we talk about serious cricket really briefly, Ross?
Yes, we should. So it should have been the start of the cricket season for I Don't Like Cricket Club yesterday, but unfortunately the weather had other ideas. But we were kitted out in some new gear, and Serious Cricket are our providers, and they are providing you, dear listeners and dear watchers on YouTube, 10% off using code TCP23 on Serious Cricket's website. So if you want some new gear for this season, treat yourself.
Right, that's a good plug. And obviously, if you're watching on YouTube or you're listening wherever you are, hit the subscribe button if you like what we're doing. I mean, I suppose if you're new to the show, so far all you've heard us talk about is serious cricket and references to King Legend. But later on, if you like it, click subscribe. How's that? I think that's fair.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Gujarat first.
You buy.
Exactly, Max. Yeah, we're going to talk about Gujarat first. I can do a summary of this if you like.
Please do.
Okay, so playing in Lucknow. Or away in Lucknow, Gujarat batted first, and they found it difficult, boys. They found it difficult. They managed to get to 135, thanks to Hardik, who eventually got going after kind of grinding out some runs. And actually, in the context of the game, a dashing innings from Ridham and Saha, who picked up 47 from 37 rocks. It didn't look like it would be enough. It looked like Lucknow had locked down this game plan where they were going to restrict things and be really sort of nasty and ugly in the field. Effective stuff is what I'm saying. Naveen bowled well, the Afghan, into the side. 19 for 1 off 4 overs. That's pretty good. Krunal Pandya, 2 for 16. These are good figures, boys. These are really good figures. They turn it over to the batters and it starts so well. They're 55 for 1, basically, after the end of the power play. That's 6.3 overs in. The first wicket goes down. They've taken a huge chunk out of the game. They need 80 off 13 overs and change. It should be a banker. Krunal comes in at number 3. Nobody really knows why, but he doesn't not do the job. He actually it's okay. He gets a runner ball, 23 or 23, and they're gonna win the game. They're up to 106 at this point. There's 5.5 overs left. What's that in balls? 39 balls, Max, and they need at this point 29 runs to win the cricket match, or 30 runs to win the cricket match, sorry.
Yeah.
They do not win the cricket match.
The train had left the station and then it had to pull back in to the platform.
I don't think I've seen a win probability chart go from 100% of a win to 0%. But I think that's what's the ESPN chart for LSG with well, basically at the time you said, I think, with probably 5, 6
They had
overs
8
left.
wickets in hand.
Yeah, I mean it's 99%.
They had in the locker. They had Puran, Badoni, Stoinis, Deepak Huda, and like a bunch of bowlers. Yeah, they got 4 players. They've got a guy at the other end, King Legend. He's on 50. Ross, you're a long-time lover of King Legend.
Mm-hmm.
This really was something special, wasn't it?
Yeah, especially after the last kind of couple of weeks, where it's becoming more and more prevalent, right? The whole KL Rahul narrative about him being a ball eater is now mainstream, right? When we started this podcast, 3-4 years ago, that was one of the first things we kind of came in with. And here it did feel like he was building up to something of going, I'm going to prove you all wrong, and I'm going to go at almost like a run at ball, and we're going to win a game. When you're chasing 135, he literally had the perfect kind of canvas to paint this masterpiece on. And here, just yes, I think it's fair to say he was let down around him. Like,
he was on 50.
Make your point,
50 or
Ross.
38.
Let's let Ross make his point, but carry on.
Okay.
I think when you're in that position, you're sitting there going, "All right, I've got Puran around me. I've got Brunel. I've got Stoinis. I've got these big players. I've got a supporting cast here to help me chase down 135." Like in his head, he's just like, "I've got all the bits to make this work." And then he does something very, very stupid, and all the other bits of his master plan all fail. And somehow the Titans, again, with 2, let's be fair, 2 clutch performances by kind of relative fringe players in Noor Ahmed and Mohit Sharma, and you're sitting there going, how have they managed to win again? It doesn't make any sense that the Ahmedabad boys continue to win.
This is right up there. I mean, we're going to mainly, I think, talk about how badly LSG fucked it up. But just for a moment, Max, we should acknowledge that Gujarat have done it again. Like, as Ross says, this is an unwinnable game that they've won. This is the Tawatia game, but with the ball.
It's backwards Gujarat.
It is.
What it is.
Yeah.
It's Tawatia and Rashid Khan in reverse. What are they doing? What do they eat in Gujarat?
What do they sacrifice?
It's sometimes you just have to.
Which gods do they pray to? That's a question.
You just have to question logical and rational thought and subscribe to the notion of deities and the supernatural. And I think that's what we have to do with this team.
When something like this does happen, and I Ross, just for the sake of clarity before we go on, I am fully in the King Legend fuck this up, this is the worst innings I've ever seen camp. I'm not even a little bit like, the rest of the team let him down. Because they actually didn't. Kyle Mayers did his job. Krunal Pandya did his job. Stoinis came in, got out first ball trying to hit a boundary, which is what should have been happening for the 5 overs before he came in. I'm not going to knock Nicholas Puran. You can't knock a guy who's having the season Nicholas Puran is having. He failed. The way you're supposed to chase in T20 cricket is to win before the final over. You don't want to introduce the element of randomness or chance or anything like that. You want to win by the 19th over, or probably actually even by the 18th over. And then if something does go wrong, you have your safety valve. They were I saw an amazing tweet where it was like King Legend fake quote after the game. I thought about a conversation I had with MS Dhoni. He said, "Take it deep," and I can't remember the rest. It's and that's what he did. He just dragged this game on and on and on. So anyway, I did a bit of looking for answers. He had a couple of quotes after the game. This is what he said: "I don't know how it happened." Which is a bold place to start, isn't it?
That's reassuring from your captain.
I think we can all see how it happened, to be honest here. But I'll continue in King Legend's voice here. But it has happened, so at least he has acknowledged that it has happened.
Okay.
I can't put a finger on where it went wrong, but we lost 2 points today. That's cricket. And he reiterated, I think.
That's cricket, baby.
I can tell him where it went wrong. He got 65 off 60 balls. That's exactly where it went wrong.
Let's be fair.
He was on 50 off 38, and then
68
off 61. So we're talking 18 off 23 after he got his 50.
I know.
That's where it went wrong.
Yeah, go on, Ross.
There's also a bit here that He played out another maiden in a power play.
No!
Not only did he did that in the last game, he's done it again here. And you'll just be like, 135 off 19 overs. I can do that. That's fine.
He doesn't.
Like this.
Yeah, he genuinely. I think he just maybe is stupid. Like I can't see how you end up in these scenarios over and over again. He does it all the time. It's just that this time it's so stark and so obvious that he's at fault, and his ponderous batting has fucked his team basically. That we get to talk about it at length. Tom Moody, he had some things to say. He's another person, and I've got a Bible parable that I want to read in a minute.
Wow.
Related to this. Tom Moody, this is what he said, Max, and you can tell me what you think about it. He has had a good day. This is about KL Rahul, which again, like Tom,
Can we just stop there?
that's a bold statement to make after what happened. With the bat, he assessed the conditions pretty well. He's been criticised for the pace at which he has gone about his innings, but I think he is over criticised at times. I don't think any blame is on KL Rahul.
None.
I think the team has let him down. He and Kyle Mayer set the ideal platform to chase this target down. The rest of the team and the way it was structured, as in the strategy around the batting order, basically was the difference. Now, there's so much wrong with that.
Who decides the batting order?
This is. It doesn't even
If
matter.
it's not
does it?
KL Rahul, it's Tom Moody.
Tom Moody wasn't. He was on ESPN. He's not the coach.
Oh, okay. I still blame him.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a really obvious issue with what Tom Moody said here, and that's that KL Rahul didn't get out. Like, if KL Rahul was out for 50 off 38, all
Job
of the
done.
things that Tom Moody said would be true. He would have been let down by his team. He would have
they
set a
did.
good platform. But he
They
didn't.
did set a good platform. No, they did get us a
Yeah.
platform. Unfortunately, he took it down.
And this is my Bible parable. Can I read the Bible parable?
Go for it.
It's,
But
go on.
before you do, we have had a super
Go.
chat in that.
Is it about the Bible?
It's not. So I think let's get
Do the
people
super
coming
chat.
back for the Bible piece.
Yeah.
So Satagirish, thank you so much. Lucknow grabbed defeat from the jaws of victory. And I'm hoping that's related to this Bible parable.
Okay, right. Well, look, Matthew 24:27, the wise and the foolish builders. Like you
Is that
might.
Matthew Hayden?
The great man.
Yeah, Matthew Hayden's Sermon on the Mount. I'll read it quickly. It's about a paragraph. Everyone, therefore, who hears these words of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on a rock. The rain came down, the floods came, and the wind blew and beat on that house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. Everyone who hears these words of mine and doesn't do them will be a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain came down, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it fell. And great was it fall. And this Bible parable, Matthew Hayden, 7:24:27. This applies directly to idiots like KL Rahul and Tom Moody who think that batting at like a pathetic strike rate in a quest for what? A quest for fucking coming second. Who think that is a viable strategy in 2023. Like years, people have known that this kind of innings was a problem. Years. It's not a secret anymore. Like this is willful ignorance. Fucking Tom Moody, KL Rahul, they are the foolish builders. They're the foolish builders.
Is this the classic strike rate problem though? Because I mean, that's we've been through that. We know that's a problem. He said it himself. But in this particular instance, like we said, chasing 136, 50 off 38, that's good. Like, I'm happy with that, especially on the pitch. I mean, obviously it was hard to score runs on that pitch based on what Gujarat did and what Lucknow have done in previous games, which is a separate point, which I'll make later about Lucknow. But at 50 for 38, like you're saying, I mean, this is good. You're ahead of the rate. You've realised that, and you've got yourself into a good position. This feels separate. This feels like removed from the strike rate issue. This feels like I don't even know what this is. The second sort of quarter of KL Rahul's innings, the second third of the innings. I don't know what to file this under.
Idiocy.
Dereliction of duty?
I
don't know.
He said, I haven't got the quote written down, but he was basically like, we just didn't look for any boundary opportunities against Noor Ahmed. It's like, why not?
The royal
we. Yeah, it was the royal we. Why weren't you doing that? Did you not think that might be important, or that could be a problem later on? I mean, I feel. Do you know who I feel sorry for? Go on, Ross. Go on. Stoinis.
Why?
He had to sit and watch this, and he must have known like where it was going.
Yeah, I'm going to have to come in and hit a boundary off my first ball now.
Yeah. And then I'm going to get out, and then Tom Moody's going to say that the batting order, I guess me at 3 or 5, at 5 rather, that was the problem. The batting order's got nothing to do with it. The batting order is fine. Like, the batting order worked. King Legend, the whole loss is at his feet, in my opinion.
No, I'm in your camp, mate. I think it's just hilarious. Like this is it's just so brilliantly perfect. Even Tuatia had a bowl. Literally, like they're just like even the one that's just like, no, it's not bowling anymore. Yeah.
Just what you need to know about the pitch, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Deepak Hooda keeps getting dropped further and further down. He'll soon be out of the team. So, just fundamentally an awful day at the office, and you have to start to wonder around some of the decision making there. Like, don't get me wrong, Carl Mayers, he's having a pretty decent IPL, but Quinton de Kock has to be in this lineup.
Hashtag free de Kock.
Yeah, like it has to be in this lineup,
especially if Carl Mayers isn't being used with the ball.
That's it. Yeah,
because I mean, Marcus Stoinis is basically doing that job now, I suppose, military medium. So with that, yeah, sort of the one string to his bow that you might have of why you'd pick Mayers over de Kock is probably gone. But I mean, fair play to Carl Mayers, though. He has, like you said, he's had a better season than we thought.
Yeah.
Well, so let's switch over to Gujarat for just a little bit.
Okay.
Some of their decision making, I'm still surprised that they have won this game. Right, 1-3-5 is that any game in T20 you should lose that game, regardless of the pitch, regardless of circumstances. You should lose it. I don't really understand some of the decisions they make, and they still get away with it. Like when
batting first.
Well, you've got deciding to do that. You've then got Manohar and Vijay Shankar coming in ahead of David Miller. And I know that they want David Miller to come in at a certain point in the game, but David Miller is fundamentally he's a better batsman than both of those guys, right? And you're kind of sitting there like, why does that happen? And then it's weird. It's just weird. And somehow they keep on winning, and they were champions last year. They might well be champions again this year. It's like, talk about the black magic at CSK. There is something in the water in Gujarat.
Yeah. I think that probably wraps up that game. I've said everything I wanted to say. I read from the Bible. I think I've ever read from the Bible. Go on, Max.
Well, are you converted? Are you,
no, but let's move on from all the God stuff.
The final thing I wanted to say is that I would like Lucknow to be liquidated as a franchise after this. Because, I mean, the defeat itself is enough of a disgrace. Putting out a pitch that's deliberately shit again to make a team score nothing so that you can chase it down easily is also heinous. And then to fail in that endeavour just means that you should be immediately folded and find somewhere else, because I'm not okay. Stop it.
That's 3 big ticks. Right, what we're going to do now is we're going to hit the break button. If you're listening on YouTube, watching on YouTube, I don't give a shit. Now you've had a taste. And now is the time when you could think, maybe I'll hit that subscribe button. I don't know. We've had the foolish builders. There's actually some wise builders, I think, that we're going to be talking about later in the show. Tell me who you want to talk about first, Ross, after this break.
I think we should revert to top. Let's start with the last game of today. Let's go Dhoni.
We shall do that.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cricket Podcast, where we are about to talk about Dhoni. It wasn't really the Dhoni show today, was it? I mean, like, he did his sort of typical thing. He didn't even hit any sixes, which was rubbish.
Don't worry, the commentators still said, "Oh my God, isn't Dhoni amazing?" at least 15 times.
It was very much the Rahane show, I thought, with Dubé as like the Robin to his Batman. Max, you're proudly wearing your Chennai Super Kings shirt there. Do you want to tell us what happened?
Absolutely. So CSK, as you know, they batted first, and Devon Conway rocked up with another 50 because he's in some good form, and it was a strong start against a KKR side that mixed things up. David Visa was in, they decided that after his performance, Lytton Das was no longer allowed to be anywhere near the team, which is absolutely fine after those missed stumping chances. And maybe they thought that putting in Jagadeesan would be the kind of rhetoric builder. You know, we like narrative. Jagadeesan's in there for narrative. Playing against his former franchise, turn the books on him. A game-winning performance. And we did get one of those performances. It was from Ajinkya Rahane. He absolutely took KKR to the cleaners with 71 off 29. He continued his prodigious form of this IPL, smoking sixes all around.
It was so nice to watch.
It was, and also the second favourite thing that's happened in the cricket this weekend, from my point of view, and I don't know what to call it or how to describe it, but the shot, the shovel.
Yeah, the shovel. I like the shovel.
The shovel, the Rahane shovel. It could be a dance. It could be a cricket shot. It was a cricket shot in this particular instance, and 235 for 4. It was outrageous. It was genuinely outrageous. I mean, it was a flat deck, but even then, it was outrageous. Jason Roy injured himself on the field, so that meant Jagadeesan and Sunil Narine opened, and that went really badly, and the game was over. Jason Roy eventually batted, threatened to bring the game back into contention, but even with the pace he scored 61 of 26. He was going at 230. And Rinku Singh was doing all right alongside him. And you were like, they're keeping up with this. They're getting 2 or 3 boundaries and over. And the run rate just kept going up. The required rate just went up. The more they hit the ball over the boundary, the more sixes they hit, the run rate just went up and up. And it was just shows you how far and away CSK were in that game. And so it proved it was a comfortable win. We got to see a bit more of Patirana. They shared the wickets around. It was a good show from CSK. That was a very strong performance.
Do you know who the real heroes are, though, Max?
Tell me.
Kolkata Knight Riders. Once again, they've delivered the goods in terms of entertainment.
Like, they have.
It's nothing, they didn't win. They didn't even get close to winning. But nobody can tell me that watching CSK score 235 wasn't entertaining. And they're not doing that against anyone else in the league, are they?
It might happen against Mumbai.
Fair play, KKR, for, I don't even know. I mean, they had one bowler whose economy rate was under 12, basically. Umesh Yadav, 11.67. We're going to honorarily bump him up a run there. And
to the nearest whole number.
It's astonishingly incompetent.
It was like lambs to the slaughter. It was brutal. There was Rahane was elegant and he was a bit of an innovator, as you said, Max. That shovel shot or the lap paddle or whatever, just the guy had so much time. It's when
it was like someone told him where the ball was exactly where the ball was going to be, and it was like play a shot to that. Okay,
Umesh Yadav got brought back into the attack. Literally, first ball, Rahane just flicked it off his legs, and it's gone about 50 rows back. And you're just like, this guy, it was almost like watching the ballet. It was absolute. It was just
timing the ball so well at the moment.
And then I think a few sixes in a row, and then just played this cover drive all along the floor, and it was just like that was just supreme. I loved it. And then he had the long levers of the Doob at the other end.
Yeah, Doob as well. I mean, Rahane.
Can we even mention the Doob?
Can we just? I've got a few stats on Rahane. First 15 balls of his innings, striking at 177. That's courtesy of Pitchside Analyst who sent that over to us in a tweet, which is 50 more than any other season over that time period of his innings. Like, wise builder. That is wise building right there. He's kicking off with a fury, basically. That's fantastic. He's got 124 runs off 70 balls to begin his innings this season.
There's a question mark here, and I'm not going to say this is actually happening, but you know that they don't do drug tests in cricket.
Okay, I don't think. I look. There's the potential for it. I think
it doesn't look like he's on drugs.
Yeah, I don't like unless he's
taken the Limitless pill. You know that film with Bradley Cooper. That's what's actually happened here.
Maybe he has got something that just improves your all-round T20 cricketing ability. I think it's a bit different to that. I think he's gone away from. His Test career is probably over now. His Indian career might be over. What makes sense for him the decision that he should make in his career right now is to prioritise being in the IPL because that's where he's going to continue to make money. Like, there's a lot of spots for Indian dudes in the IPL. So if you can up your T20 game, then
he's got another 10 years.
Whoa,
is,
yeah, he could be the captain next year.
He's only 34.
There's absolutely no money in this plan because he got picked up for 50 lakh by CSK, and they have fucking.
He's not going to be 50 lakh next year, is he?
They're not letting him go, are they?
Well, I think in these circumstances, they probably will have to increase the amount of money that they're paying him. What I'm getting at here is I think he's made some development. Ross, I don't think you're right. I don't think he's juiced. I think effectively what's happening here is that we're so far, or most players are so far from playing T20 cricket optimally, that if you make a decision to try and play it optimally, you can make a huge leap forward if you're a talented cricketer. We all agree here that Rahane is a talented cricketer, don't we? I think.
Yeah. Technically a very gifted player.
What he is now doing, and that 15 ball strike rate stat that I mentioned there, is playing the game in the, analytically speaking, best way. He's hitting more sixes, he's hitting more fours, and what that means is that he, just by playing the game like it's supposed to be played, he now looks like he's fucking God.
But it's amazing, though, that at the age of 34, with not having really played the game like this before, he's always...
He probably didn't try.
Always had beautiful technique, but to be able to then just suddenly click and go,
he probably...
I'm now going to turn this into playing these shots and hitting everything for six. It's amazing.
It's genuinely possible that he'd never tried it. Because we know...
even if he hadn't ever tried it, it's still amazing.
I totally agree. I totally agree with this. And I've got some more KL Rahul stats. Not KL Rahul. Rahane stats if you want to go down that route.
Oh, that's a shame. I was hoping for King Legend.
But... the fact is, here's a template. Here's what you should be doing if you're somebody who isn't going to play for the India Test team anymore, or the India ODI team even.
Yeah.
Do whatever Rahane has done in the last 10 months and come back playing like this. Yeah. Like it's really impressive.
Do you want to go and pick up? It's a shame that he's not going to be able to go and pick up a load of money in a bunch of franchise tournaments around the globe. Unless things change, because that would be good for him. But yeah, I guess your choices are, you've got A, dominate the IPL, or B, dominate the Ranji Trophy. So
and one of them plays a hell of a lot better than the other.
I'll have the IPL, please. Right. Thank you.
But some of the other things. So he's striking at 199 this year. That is basically unheard of. Like, I had a look at some of the best seasons ever. The only, the Dre Russ season 2019 is the only thing that's anything like this. Now, I know it's 6 games into the season, so there's plenty of time for things to correct. And I think it's unlikely that he maintains a strike rate of practically 200 for the year. But you have to give him serious credit. He's obviously made a change, and it's obviously, paying off big time.
If he wants to, he could always just come out and hit every first ball for 4 and then just knock his stumps over. I want to kick 200.
No, he could do that. It'd be a bit avant-garde, wouldn't it?
Yeah. What I want to know is how much CSK knew about this. Has Dhoni been on the phone with Jinx and been like, "Look, mate, I've heard you've been doing some training. Do you want, should we come and get you for CSK?"
Maybe they're gym buddies.
Is this just luck? Is this just blind luck, pure chance?
From CSK's point of view?
We'll get Rahane. He's quite good at cricket. He's been quite good at cricket. It might work out for us. And then suddenly, what's happened? I mean, there must have been something. There must have been a level of understanding, surely.
There are people joking in the chat about the MS Dhoni effect, and it might be like I think. We've acknowledged a second ago as a collective that Rahane is pretty good at cricket. I think as a collective, we would also acknowledge that Dhoni, probably of the people who are playing the game anyway, is number one in terms of understanding how you actually win T20 cricket matches.
Yeah.
It's not, knowing that we've got a good player and knowing that we have a good brain, it's not impossible that the good brain said to the good player, "Why don't you do a bit of this?" And the good player was able to execute that. That's not unheard of.
Should we talk about where people don't have a brain and KKR?
If you want to, yeah.
Because we need a bit of balance. We could just do the Rahane show. Yeah,
I think he deserves it.
But KKR, they obviously won a couple of games, and people were just told you this was going to be good. We were very much on the fence around how sustainable their performances were actually going to be. And actually, over a season, even 6 games in now, can they actually rely on their stars to stay fit and firing for the whole piece? Today, we saw the unsustainability of that with someone like Sunil Narine having an off day, and then everyone just panicking. They literally couldn't bowl to a plan. We talked at quite a length on Wednesday on the analytics piece around kind of Yorkers, and if you miss your Yorkers here, they seem to be always going for that. And full toss after full toss, they couldn't nail it. And yeah, even Jadeja was smashing it all around. It was a
Even
real...
Jadeja. Wow, that's shade.
How dare you? How dare you?
Everyone knows you got
Get out.
Mahane, Doob, and then you've got this Jadeja bloke. Like, who's
Look,
this
Then
guy?
you got
They put
Dhoni
him
above him. It's,
They wanted some sixes. They sent him in ahead of Moeen Ali. That's how good Jadeja is. Lay off my man.
Mate, you know I'm a big fan of Jadeja. And his little throw through the back of his legs to try.
That
and
was
run
so
without,
good. It's
as
so
in the bail's not
unfortunate that the
coming
bails didn't come off. That was brilliant.
anything else from this game? So we can get through the other two as well.
I don't think so. I think the only thing for CSK is that batting-wise, they're looking really, really strong. At home, they're looking strong with the ball because of the spinners they've got, but they don't seem to have the bowlers to do the whole piece. I think that's an area of risk for them at the moment. But Patarana's doing okay.
He's doing okay. He's doing fine.
Can Patarana bowl round the wicket? Is it possible? Because they showed the release.
Probably not.
Points. And it's literally the umpire's face. The release point is the umpire's face. Now, if that's not distracting, I don't know what is. But if you're going for round the wicket, yeah, it feels like biomechanically impossible to do. But there you go.
We'll find out.
Well, we might not.
We might not.
Max, your turn to choose an adventure. We've got RCB to go, and we've got Punjab to go. Who would you like to talk about next?
Should we go RCB, and then we'll finish. We'll finish on the big finish.
That's fair. So, Royal Challengers Bangalore took on Rajasthan Royals. Ross, as the Royals fan, why don't you talk us through your emotions?
Well, have you seen today as well? I'm a Spurs fan and I'm a Rajasthan Royals fan.
Double disappointment.
And double disappointment, which is a bit of a brutal Sunday. But got to represent. So Trent Bolt produced an absolute perler first ball of the match to get rid of Kohli, then removed Shabazz Ahmed, and it was all looking rosy for the Royals. Then Faf, du Plessis and Maxwell decided to build what is can only be described as a pretty brutal partnership.
A house on the rock.
Yeah, the house on the rock.
Yeah.
And
wise builders.
They are the wise builders. Their middle order didn't really do much at all.
That's generous.
What middle order?
And it kind of felt that even with 189 on the board, it didn't feel enough. It looked like it was a pretty good deck. And then Mohammad Siraj smoked Universe Joss Joss Butler wasn't even in the same country, I don't think, as that. He was beating for pace. He was being all ends up by Mohammad Siraj, who is really coming to his own in this IPL, a real return to form, which people like Rickon in the chat will be more than delighted with. Jaiswal and Devdutt Padikkal fought back in some style and gave my pink boys the chance. But then Harshal and Willie combined to wrestle back that control. Hetmeyer got run out. The run rate got a bit too much for them, and they ended up with it was Ashwin at the end on strike trying to hit some sixes, and it just didn't quite fall.
They needed 20 off the last over. They got it down to 10 off the last three, and there was hope there, wasn't there? But it looked to me at the halfway stage they were set. Padikkal and Jaiswal, was it 94 off 10 for one? I mean, you're looking at that, and you're like, yeah, this game is in our favour, like 60-40, 65-35.
Second time this has happened, isn't it? For Rajasthan in 2 games, ahead of the game at the halfway point and then losing.
Yeah, and it is because I think Ashwin ends up with pretty good batting figures, but they're kind of a couple of inside edges, etc. We thought that, I certainly thought that Jason Holder was kind of a good acquisition for Rajasthan Royals and would offer a bit of the bat. And I think in my head, I would have sent someone like Jason Holder in ahead of Ashwin to try and hit the big runs. Don't seem to be valuing his batting too much, really. He's not really done anything at the moment. And when Ashwin's ahead of you going into that situation, Doesn't scream like you've got confidence in him.
Well, they actually impacted in someone I've never heard of instead of Jason Holder at the end. And I'm happy to admit that I've never heard of Abdul Basit.
I think there's that kind of a view on Holder that he's quite good against spin, but maybe can't do it against pace. I don't know if that's absolutely fair, to be honest, from what I've seen of him with the eye test anyway. Like, it feels like he's somebody who can bomb the ball a long way. I mean, like, as good as Ashwin is, and Ashwin 12 off 6 balls gets out. Well, they got pretty close, didn't they? I mean, if you look at the last over, they got 10 off the first 3 balls and were properly in the game. Harshal Patel, you're only ever 1 ball away from his next full toss this season, so you have a pretty good chance with 3 to go and 9 to win with him bowling. But I don't know. I think I agree with both of you that I would rather have Holder in that scenario.
The other confusing thing for me from an RCB point of view was is there something wrong with Harshal Patel, because he was impact subbed in?
Yeah, so he'd hurt his hand. Yeah, so he hurt his hand in the previous game. So and Matt Roller,
yes, he did. Yeah.
So I read an article before coming on here from Matt Roller on ESPN, who's sometimes on the show, and he was talking about RCB wouldn't have won this game unless the impact sub rule kind of actually existed. So like Faf du Plessis got to bat, probably wasn't fit enough to field and do what he would normally do. Right, Harshal Patel wasn't fit enough to bat. And came on as the impact sub.
Yeah, no, that's probably true.
Against the impact sub team as well. We were praising Rajasthan's impact sub ability.
Well, Dhruv Jurel again. What a find he's been this season.
It's good. Look, I think
fucking miles better than Parag, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been elevated from impact sub to first team now. That's your way in.
I think it was a really big win for RCB. Just speaking from more general perspective, they've now got a positive record. Their net run rate is fractionally below 0, so they're not completely. Normally by now, even if RCB are in it, they've got like a -5 net run rate for some reason. It's not too bad.
Best.
They're only 1 big win away from having a very, very good net run rate actually. And they claw Rajasthan slightly back into the mix. I mean, like I still think even today, the manner in which Rajasthan lost, I wouldn't be massively concerned about if I were them, because they'll win that game a lot from the position they were in. And it's the same with their game midweek, where they did throw it away, but they would win that match a lot from the position that they had got themselves into. And I think you sort of think a bit of bad luck here and there, and a bit of underperformance from Butler in both matches. Let's say
he's their best batter. 2 of your main guys. Your main guys didn't go,
It's not. I wouldn't be too worried, but they do have to look over their shoulder slightly now. And RCB, with that win, they're within touching distance of Lucknow. They're within touching distance of Rajasthan. They're within touching distance of Gujarat, which is kind of where you want to be, isn't it, Ross?
Absolutely. And I think on that Rajasthan point, winning is a habit, and and therefore losing is also a habit, right? And so there is a bit where they do need to be a little bit. Well, maybe not concerned, but there needs to be a big performance in the next game from, as Max, as you said, from at least one of their big players. But I tell you what, Jaiswal looked good. The Devdutt Padikal kind of will have another opener just in case it all falls down.
Yeah, I mean, that's working for him, isn't
it? It worked nicely. They looked in fine touch, but there was a bit where they just gave him catching practice for no reason. And it was disappointing for the Pink lads.
Yeah. Playoff check, Ross. I think the last time we did this, very confident of Rajasthan making the playoffs. Now they're kind of, they're in the Champions League mixer, aren't they? To borrow from the Premier League. Still confident?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm on the win predictor. I'm 100%. Is where I
am. 100%. Wow,
that's very.
That is that's very binary.
Purely on the fact that obviously they're my team first and foremost, but secondly, I think that the more the tournament kind of goes on, I think their bowling lineup is quite well suited to actually dealing with those conditions. I think having Ashwin and having Chahal both in that side, where the pitches may start to get a little bit slower and turn more, etc., is going to be a real handful for teams. They've also been using Adam Zampa, I think, actually quite well, Murugan Ashwin as well. So I'm confident with Bolt, Sandeep Sharma and Holder that they've got enough about them to flex for what the tournament has next, and the fact that they're still 4 and 3, and Joss hasn't fired in the last 2 games. Hetmeyer's not done it today.
I mean,
Still
we should,
confident.
like, to round off this game, we should probably also just give a quick shout out to Trent Bolt, who was pretty phenomenal. Like, very unlucky to end up on the losing side. One of the performances of the weekend, probably. Like, if you were going to do a IPL best 11 over the last 5 matches, he would definitely be taking the ball. I think.
Over Arjun Tendulkar.
Well, it's close. Actually, when you put it like that, Max. Right. Max, can you tell us about what you would do if your testicles were extremely hairy and you didn't want them to be hairy anymore?
Well, that's a very simple answer, Jack. I would head straight over to manscaped.com. I would click on the Performance Package 4.0. I would add it to my basket. And at the checkout, I would enter the code CricketPod. And it would give you 20% off and free shipping for all the lovely items that I can find at the Performance Package, including the lawnmower trimmer, the general trimmer of below the belt grooming, as well as the ear and nose trimmer. The ball deodorant, the toner, the briefs, the boxers, very nice, very comfy, and a travel bag to put it all in together. So
I'll be taking that to Lisbon next week.
Yep.
We should actually say
it's good for travelling. Actually, that bag.
It is, yeah. So round off, Cricket Pod. You get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. I'm going to say that again, and you can actually see it on the screen if you're on YouTube. Cricket Pod, manscaped.com. Put those things together, get yourself 20% off and free shipping. We do shows Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. We should say next week we're altering the schedule a little bit because we're going on holiday. We're taking advantage of the IPL mid-season IPL lull. What do they call it? Something like that. Those words.
We'll call it that.
Yeah. And we will not be doing a show on Friday, and our show on Sunday will be bumped back a day. So, subscribe. You'll get notifications. We'll be doing it live as usual.
Yeah,
it'll come up. Don't send us loads of
better
messages
doing
on
it from
Friday.
the airport.
Yeah, don't send us loads of messages on Friday being like, "Where the hell are you?" Because I'll tell you for free.
Lisbon, and we're drinking wine.
There's also a very high chance that we do a drunk show from Lisbon. let's be fair.
Don't tell them that; they'll expect it. Surprise!
I'm going to hit the break button, and then we're going to come back. We've got one more game to talk about, and I actually want to do a quick mid-season best player, best bowler, best batter, and best team. So just have a think about that. It'll be really quick, but we've got to do an hour of content, boys. We can't possibly finish early.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cricket Podcast. I just had a quick look in the chat, fellas, while we were on break. Galton points out that we are saving the best game of the entire weekend for last, Punjab v Mumbai, which is harsh, I think, isn't it? But
no, it's not match of the day. It's not match of the day where all the good ones go first, and then it trails off, and by the end you've got Southampton 0, Bournemouth 0, and no one wants to see it. We're bookending. We didn't go straight to Mumbai, so we had to put it there. You can't have it third. Once you don't have it first or second, you can't have it third, can you?
We're like a circuit stand-up comedian. We start with the second best jokes,
or a
King
band.
Legend. Yeah, or a
good
band.
One to start.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the band up.
Yeah.
All the new material in the middle. No one's listened to that. Go get a beer. Go to the toilet. Right at the end. Encore. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Top hits. That's what we're doing.
Double encore. Well, there's no more games, so there'll be no double encore.
Yeah, and if you left early, shame on you.
It was a pretty good game, I think. Yeah, Punjab, they bat first. They get 214. It was an innings of kind of ebb and flow from Punjab. It didn't start with a huge bang, but there was a little bit of there was some crackle.
The ebb was from Matthew Short and Liam Livingstone, and the flow was from everyone else.
There was still a bit of crackle around. Big props have to go to Sam Curran and Jitesh Sharma. Jitesh Sharma, he faced 7 balls and got 25 runs.
Yeah, 4 sixes, a dot, and a single.
That's bonkers.
And the wicket.
That is bonkers. Sam Curran dished it out. That was nice to see as well. With the ball, it was good to see Jofra bowl, and we'll talk about that. Probably as we go through things. There were some serious concerns about his health, like lots of rumours about him going back to England because he was dead. Not true, is it? He didn't
No,
bowl
he's
that well,
there.
but he is there.
Unless they found a body double.
He is there. In response, there was again, I think, a good amount of ebb and flow. Rohit got some runs. Cameron Green, it's back-to-back good games for Cameron Green. My shout for MVP looking more likely than your shout for flop of the tournament.
Yeah, I think we can rule about the running for the flop.
He gets 67 from 43. Sky, he's back. Do you remember when he was shit? Was it 3 golden ducks? 57 off 26. It's not quite Jitesh Sharma levels of explosiveness, but you have to hand it to him for longevity there. Lost 26 balls. And it comes right down to the crunch. You've got Timmy David there. He actually ends up not out 25 off 13. And you had Sky there as well. And it was a genuine 50-50. I can't remember the exact calculation. I think it was about 14 and over off 3.
Yeah, it was
Something
16 off the last over.
Okay, well, it gets all the way down to there. And they can't quite get it over the line because Ross, of your boy Arshdeep Singh, he was magnificent for the Punjab Kings, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's just such an elite level player, and the kind of the doubt over the last kind of 12 or 18 months from the kind of India setup and kind of mucking around with him, like there is just no doubt he is such a good player, and he can bowl up front, he can bowl in the middle, and he can bowl at the death, and he's always delivering, and yeah, this was no different. And he must be horrible to face.
It was one of the great final overs. I mean, I know he was defending 16, so it's like not like you've defended 5 and you've nailed all the Yorkers and it's come out of nowhere. But also, we're talking about a game where the average over's gone for 12. So 16 off the final over is not outrageous, and it had the two of my favorite things. But 2 of my favorite things all weekend. Rahani's shot was one, but the top 3 for me this weekend. Obviously, he broke the stumps not once but twice in the same place. Okay,
brilliant.
But my other favourite thing, it's probably 3rd on the list, but it still needs mentioning. Rahul Chahar bowling through and over. That happened.
Oh, I love that when he does that.
Through and over.
That is great.
You'd love to see it.
That is fantastic. You should do that more often. Arshdeep, really, really special player when he's on song. He's not dominated the IPL. Like he got very precipitous upward trend in his ability, and then he's sort of plateaued around very, very good. But when he does get it right, it's phenomenal. Smashing the stumps twice, like literally snapping a stump in half, one ball, and then doing the same thing. It was like you kind of know what's coming if you're the batter.
The next ball in the same place.
And he
kind of feels like someone's been filing the stump.
I can't remember what I was going to say. Ross, what was your point? Do you have any more points?
So I think there was a couple of strange things happened. Pierce Chawla not bowling his full quota when he's been Mumbai's best player or best bowler this year was a little bit interesting from them. But Punjab, I'm not sold on Matt Short, lads. I'm not sure he's a
good fielder. Very good fielder.
I don't doubt that he's a good cricketer. I'm just not sure in this lineup that he's the most optimal person to
the Punjab Kings way, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
they don't optimal. What they don't? That's not even in their lexicon. They don't know the definition of optimal. They're the kings of comedy. Like it's if something isn't extremely wrong about how they set up for any individual game, then there's a problem.
Function.
Yeah, like it needs. We were talking about sacrifice earlier. Like Rahane is definitely something has been sacrificed with Rahane to the cricketing gods. Like I'm not sure exactly what it is, but maybe KL Rahul is
he's the sacrifice.
He's the sacrifice to make Rahane good.
We're seeing him being sacrificed live every week.
Punjab's sacrifice, like tip the cap to the cricketing gods, is to line up with people all in the wrong position and like not enough bowlers and play 25 people in a season. It's that kind of banter, I think, that makes them so good. I love Sharat Khan comes out 0, doesn't face a ball, just like little bits like that. You look at that scorecard and you're like, yeah, that's fun. Like why is he even in the team if going to do that?
It's kind of like the Punjab we expected last year, though, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Lots of scores of about 30 done quickly. That's what we wanted from them. That's what we wanted from last year. We didn't really get it, but this was it. This was the blueprint, and it worked.
Another comedy king, Atava, which I prefer to the surname that we still don't know the name of.
We'll go with Atava.
Yeah, he's now Atava on the official broadcast as well. Max, we castigated him. Right,
we did.
He gets 29 off 17. That is a great punchline.
Yeah.
Tell me a better punchline than Max and I rinsing him for 5 minutes.
I've got one.
What's it?
Shubman Gill doesn't score enough runs to be a good T20 player, and then he scored 100 the next day.
that was
That's
good.
not being beaten.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I think for Punjab, they absolutely had to win this match.
It's the most competitive IPL. I think we're like it's brilliant at the moment.
Yeah. Like, it really is. Mumbai, they clawed themselves back into the tournament after a pretty inauspicious start, and there were some questions about have they figured things out. And I think it was important for Punjab to beat a team that they are better than. Like that's something I think if you were going to level a criticism at Punjab, it's that they just don't beat the bad teams regularly enough. I mean, I love that they started the season by winning 2 matches in a row for the first time in 2 years. Like that is, that's their problem in a nutshell. Is that they can play well, but they can't put away teams that are a little bit incompetent. And if we're being honest about Mumbai here, they were a little bit incompetent. Not only
Ross,
nice
to see Arjun Tendulkar go for 1 million in 1 over.
It was funny. I wryly smiled when I saw that was happening. The other thing that, Ross, you mentioned Chawla only bowling 3 overs. 3 overs, 15 for 2. I mean, like, did Rohit actually forget he had an extra over? In the context of this game,
it's got to be the only logical explanation.
How do you not bowl that guy out? Like, what's going through your mind? Shakeen, you can probably say the same for him, actually controlling the run rate to some extent. Meredith not in the team. Do you think they rushed Jofra back? Maybe last game Meredith was their best player. Maybe Ross, I'm going to direct this at you. Do you think they either A, rushed Jofra back when Meredith had shown that he could be a solution to them? B, should have dropped Jason Behrendorff but played him, instead of Meredith? Like for me, I think that was a real mistake.
Yeah, so I think they play Behrendorff because he offers kind of the left arm angle. I think that's why he's there.
Yeah.
I don't agree with any of the IPL sentiment that Jason Behrendorff is the answer. If he's the answer, you're asking the wrong question. And I think when it comes to Jofra, I think they just he's such a box office player.
Yeah.
They're just like, we need to get him back into this side because he is a game winner. And even if it is just getting some overs in his underneath him,
if Jofra Archer is fit, you play him.
Yeah, exactly right. And there is a little bit of kind of that match sharpness element to it. They probably also thought, do you know what, we've got enough in this team to beat Punjab Kings. I think they probably came from a position of arrogance rather than anything else. They are still Mumbai Indians, right? They're still evil empire.
Yeah.
And they're just like, Comedy Kings, we'll literally beat them regardless of what team we put out. So let's just roll the dice on it.
They weren't far off.
Yeah.
It took a special last over.
Do you want some Behrendorff stats?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah.
10
Stat
matches.
me up.
10 matches in the IPL.
Yeah.
Got 210 balls. He's gone for 327 runs off those 10 balls. That's an economy rate of 9.3. He's worse this year than those numbers. Economy up at 10.13.
I assume everyone's worse this year. Not everyone, but a lot of people.
Most people aren't going for 10s. That is pants.
But when your starting point's 9.5, there's not much further to go, is there?
That is really pants. He has taken a few wickets, to be fair to him. What struck me about watching Mumbai bowl, and Arjun was the person who really got battered. Behrendorff second in terms of the battering. We noted how well their Yorker plan came off in the last match, but also said it was pretty high risk. For me, this was like, we've seen the yin and the yang.
It was half volley central, wasn't it, that over?
All like low full tosses. It was just like, oh God. I mean, I felt for Arjun, like, probably he isn't a death bowler. They probably need to find another bit of the game to play him, to bowl him in. I mean, like, from what I've seen, I'm not sure he's quite at this level. But if he is, it's definitely not going to be in that phase of the game.
And when they started using him, it was a couple of overs in the power play, and it worked. He was good. He kept it tight, got a bit of swing. It was serviceable. But I guess he bowled that death over to the tail enders in the last game, didn't he? And kept it tight. So I thought, oh, we've unearthed a gem here. Oops.
And even that over last time, he got a bit lucky. I think if we're looking at it, like it wasn't a well executed final over it. It was just kind of just like that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Right, boys.
Anyway.
5 minutes left in the show. I said I wanted to get some like kind of mid-season-ish. I think we're not quite there, but obviously we're not doing a show next week, so can't. 5 minutes. I want best batter, best bowler, MVP, biggest flop, and we'll be here all night. And the best team. Be really quick. So just in a sentence, who's the best team, Max, so far in the IPL?
CSK, obviously.
Okay, yeah, okay. I think that's a fair shout. Ross, would you disagree?
I think they are entertaining. They're sitting top of the table.
I disagree on entertaining, but I think they are good.
I think they're quite entertaining to watch at the moment. I look forward to watching them.
Okay, all right. I would say the best team is probably still Rajasthan, but Chennai have got a method, and the method is working very well. Certainly deserve to be up there in the top two. Best batter, Ross, kick us off. Who's best batter?
Well, again, top of the pops at the moment is Faf du Plessis, and after today's performance, like it was pretty spectacular. But I think it's got to be for me Devon Conway. Devon Conway has
Really?
set the tone. I think there was definitely in our kind of Discord a bit around Devon Conway, Stokes, all that kind of stuff. Like how's that dynamic going to work? Who they're going to value more, etc. And actually, there was that bit of, definitely from my perspective of them potentially picking the bigger name, bigger star. Ben Stokes being injured, Conway having a great record. I think he's done really, really well so far.
I am going to say I think Rahane's having a better season than him, for the reasons we discussed earlier. Max, deciding call, or are you going to throw another name into the mix?
Well, I was gonna say I want to go Rahane, but I was gonna go Faf because he has just been so good for us.
I mean, to be fair to
if we're
Faf,
choosing between the two, then it's Rahane.
Faf does have 405 runs. He has played 6 out of 7 matches at the Chinnaswamy, and that does take the shine off slightly.
Yeah,
like Rahane's played 5 matches, one of them at the Chinnaswamy. Strike rate's 35 higher. That's good.
Yeah,
like, you have to give props to the old man.
It's between those two.
Less
for me.
old man, actually.
And to be fair, Glenn Maxwell's also having a good year. As
my choice of flop of the year.
We're good at this,
as Nanny has pointed out.
Okay, MVP, Ross.
Oh no, you went with me last time.
Okay, Max, MVP.
MVP. Oh,
David Warner.
For me, this is really simple. MVP is the same as best bowler. Siraj has been the best.
Yeah. Well, that's where I was leading. I was trying to decide between him and maybe Arshdeep, but
where Faf gets a penalty for Chinnaswamy, Siraj gets a huge boost. He's been the best bowler, plus he's had to bowl in the worst place. So I think not only best bowler, but also MVP for me.
And he's taken some huge wickets. Butler, prime example.
Ross, any dissenting
I'm fine
voice?
with that.
I'm going to stick with a joke one, but David Warner must think he's having a brilliant season.
He's MVP for everyone that's played against Delhi Capitals.
I'll tell you why this weekend was so good in the IPL. We didn't have to see Delhi play. They stink. They really stink at the moment. Flop. Who's flopped big time so far?
And Stokes, I guess.
I think if you're not on the bench,
nothing, then got
you can't
injured.
really say Ben Stokes has flopped because he hasn't done anything. Substitute.
Harshal Patel, been a bit of a flop, even though he's taken 10 wickets.
I don't think any of the big boys have really melted.
I tell you, I've got a flop.
Okay.
Andre Russell.
Oh, that's a shout. I think I'll back Andre Russell. I'll take that one. Right, we are pretty much done. 3 games coming up. In literally a word, because we're up against it on the time front. Who is going to win tomorrow afternoon? Sunrisers Hyderabad, Delhi Capitals. Ross?
Oh, Sunrisers.
Max?
Sunrisers.
I'm going to go Sunrisers. They're going to keep the dying embers of their season alive.
I want Delhi killed off. I want them cut adrift at the bottom. That's what I want. I want the people who are kicking them every week.
This is a mouth-watering one. Gujarat Titans v Mumbai Indians. That's Tuesday's game. Max, you can get to go first on this one.
Gujarat.
Ross?
They somehow find ways to win. So, yeah, Gujarat.
I'm going to go with the theory that I put out in the last game, that Gujarat are a good team, but they have a bad home ground for the style of cricket they play. They're playing at the Modi Dome. Evil Empire are going to come to the Modi Dome and take them down. Mumbai Indians all the way. for me. And then finally Wednesday, we'll be doing a show on Wednesday, so you'll give as if we're going to remember any of these predictions. RCB v KKR. I am going to say
That's awful. Why would you watch that?
I'm going to say no. Well, because KKR and us, they're the most fun teams. They are the most fun teams in the tournament. What do you mean? Why would you watch that?
They've been involved in some of the best
That's
games.
wacky races.
You're completely right. Yeah, it's like from a quality perspective. It's just like no.
You
just
don't want to watch Lucknow.
No.
Lucknow,
No.
they're quite good, but they're terrible to watch. Chennai, I think, are in that camp for me. Everyone else seems to tell me they're excellent, but RCB and KKR. RCB box office. They're the first team I would choose to watch over all of the other teams, and KKR
Right.
potentially second. To be honest, like,
RCB they have to win that game. If they lose there, they'll. Yeah, RCB.
I'm going for KKR. I just think it's such an RCB narrative thing to happen to get the season going again. That run into KKR, and
I want to go
Gujarat.
KKR. I want to be with you on that, Jack, but I can't. My
KKR
brain is
have lost
overruling me.
4 in a row, and they're 2 and 5. Like
My
They're
brain
coming
is
back.
overruling my heart.
they're going to come back. Right, lads. It's been another terrific episode of the Cricket Podcast, if I do say so myself.
Always, as he swirls the red wine. Very good, chaps. Well done.
Well done, chaps. Another one in the books. We'll be back on Wednesday, everyone. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at the Cricket Pod for some extra action. Goodbye.
see you later.